Before a new year arrives, people often rush to set goals, dreams, and expectations. But the truth is simple: a new year does not change your life. A new mindset does. What you carry in your mind will shape the path you walk in 2026. So before the year begins, prepare not your calendar, but your inner world. Letting go of emotional and mental weight before entering a new year is not just advice. It is a necessary purification of the mind. Most people believe that time heals everything, but time only passes. Healing happens when you consciously choose to release what no longer belongs to your story. The emotional weight you carry is often invisible, but it shapes your thoughts, your reactions, and your decisions. It slows you down without you noticing. And if you enter 2026 with the same heaviness from 2025, the year may change, but your life will stay the same. Emotional weight comes from many places: disappointment, broken promises, the feeling of being misunderstood, the fear of repeating old mistakes, the pain caused by others, or the guilt caused by yourself. All these experiences live inside you like stones in a backpack. You don't see them, but you feel the exhaustion they create. You wake up tired, not because you worked too hard, but because you carried too much. That is why letting go is not weakness. Letting go is an act of inner intelligence. It is the decision to no longer let the past borrow energy from your future. Letting go does not mean forgetting. It does not mean pretending nothing happened. It means accepting what happened, understanding the lesson, and then choosing not to let the memory control your next step. Some people hold on to pain because they think releasing it means forgiving the other person too easily. But releasing the weight is not for them, it is for you. Your peace should not depend on someone else's apology. Your freedom should not wait for someone else's behavior to change. You release the weight because you deserve to enter the next chapter with clarity, not with chaos. Before 2026 begins, sit with yourself and honestly observe what you are still holding on to. Many times, the real issue is not the event, but the meaning you attach to it. A failure becomes a belief that you are not capable. A rejection becomes a belief that you are not enough. A betrayal becomes a belief that no one can be trusted. But these beliefs do not come from the truth. They come from unprocessed pain. Letting go means separating what happened from who you are. You are not your failures. You are not the mistakes others made. You are not the disappointments you faced. You are the person who survived them. Releasing emotional weight also requires courage. It is easier to keep replaying old stories because they feel familiar. Even pain can become comfortable when you have lived with it long enough. But familiarity is not growth. To step into a new year with a new mindset, you must be willing to create space for new experiences. No seed grows in soil that is already full of dead roots. Similarly, your mind cannot grow if it is crowded with memories that no longer serve you. Letting go is an active process. It is choosing every day to not revisit the same wounds. It is refusing to argue with yourself about the past. It is giving yourself permission to walk away from anything or anyone who keeps you emotionally stuck. When you do this, you will feel something powerful: the return of your own energy. You will realize that the weight you carried was never a part of you. It was simply something you held. And just as you picked it up, you can put it down before the next year begins. Discipline is the bridge between who you are right now and who you wish to become in the coming year. It is the silent force that shapes your days when motivation disappears and emotions fluctuate. Before 2026 begins, understanding discipline as a mindset, not as a punishment, not as restriction, but as a form of self-respect, is essential. Most people fail not because they lack talent or opportunity, but because they depend too much on how they feel. Emotions are temporary visitors. Discipline is the steady companion that guides you even when the mind becomes loud, distracted, or tired. Every person wakes up with emotions that change like weather. Some mornings you feel inspired. Some days you feel empty. Some nights you feel confident. Others filled with doubt. If your actions are controlled by these shifting states, your life becomes inconsistent. You start projects passionately, but abandon them when the excitement fades. You set goals, but you return to old habits as soon as your feelings become uncomfortable. Discipline is the ability to choose what is right over what is easy, even when your emotions resist. It is the art of acting with intention rather than impulse. Discipline is not something you suddenly have. It is something you cultivate. It begins with small commitments, waking up when you said you would, finishing the task you promised yourself, choosing effort over excuses. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you build internal trust. And internal trust is power. When you trust yourself, you no longer negotiate with your weakness. You no longer fall into emotional traps. You stop believing the stories your mind creates about why you cannot continue. You stand firm. Inconsistency often comes from emotional dependency. When you do things only when they feel good, you train your mind to avoid discomfort. But discomfort is where growth lives. The body becomes stronger through resistance, and the mind becomes stronger through discipline. If you avoid challenges, you remain fragile. If you face them consistently, you become unshakable. Before 2026 begins, understand that discipline is not about doing more. It is about doing what matters, even when you don't feel ready. People often misunderstand discipline as something harsh or rigid. But real discipline is compassion toward your future self. It is the act of protecting the person you are becoming. When you stay committed to healthy routines, to learning, to self-control, you are showing care for the life you desire. Discipline is love expressed through action. It is choosing long-term fulfillment over short-term comfort. It is choosing progress over pleasure, clarity over distraction, responsibility over excuses. There will always be moments when your emotions ask you to stop. They will whisper that it is too hard, too late, too overwhelming. But emotions are not the enemy. They are signals, not instructions. You can feel tired and still continue. You can feel doubtful and still take action. Discipline does not silence emotions. It simply teaches you not to obey them blindly. When emotions rise, discipline reminds you of your purpose. The people who achieve real transformation do not rely on motivation. They rely on disciplined systems, routines that guide them regardless of how they feel. A routine creates structure, and structure reduces chaos. When your day has order, your mind has clarity. When your mind has clarity, you make better choices. And when you make better choices consistently, your entire life begins to shift. Discipline also requires controlling what influences you. The environment you choose, the people you allow near you, the content you consume, all of these shape your emotional states. A disciplined mind protects itself from negativity, comparison, and distractions. It knows that attention is limited, and wasting it means weakening your potential. Discipline is the act of placing your focus where it benefits you, not where your feelings drag you. Before the new year begins, reflect on how often emotions have stopped you in the past. Ask yourself how many opportunities you lost because you waited to feel ready. Life will rarely give you the perfect emotional moment to begin. Discipline teaches you to begin anyway. It teaches you that action creates readiness, not the other way around. It teaches you that consistency builds confidence, and confidence builds momentum. When discipline becomes your mindset, you don't need to force yourself. You simply follow your path, knowing every step, even the small ones, moves you forward. You stop seeking motivation and start creating it through your actions. You stop chasing the ideal moment and start building the ideal self. Discipline becomes the quiet strength that moves you through the days when your emotions try to slow you down. And once you experience this inner strength, you understand why discipline is the foundation you must carry into 2026. Protecting your energy before entering a new year is one of the most powerful decisions you can make. Your energy is your life force, your emotional, mental, and spiritual fuel. Yet most people give it away carelessly. They share their dreams with those who don't understand them. They allow negativity to sit in their mind like a guest with no intention of leaving. They open themselves to people, situations, and habits that drain them slowly until they no longer feel like themselves. Protecting your energy is not selfish, it is survival. It is the act of recognizing that you cannot create a strong life while surrounded by weak influences. Every person you interact with leaves an imprint on your mind. Some people bring clarity, inspiration, and calmness. Others bring confusion, heaviness, and chaos. Protecting your energy means understanding this difference and choosing carefully whom you allow into your inner world. Not everyone deserves access to your thoughts, your plans, or your emotions. Some people only want information, not connection. Others want entertainment, not sincerity. And some want to know your weaknesses so they can judge, not support. You must become selective, not out of fear, but out of wisdom. Privacy is a major part of protecting your energy. The more you announce your intentions, the more room you give others to influence them. Silence allows your goals to breathe and grow without interference. When you keep your plans quiet, you protect them from unnecessary opinions, from discouraging comments, and from people who do not have the capacity to understand your journey. Silence is strength because it allows you to build in peace. The world only sees your results once they are strong enough to stand on their own. Energy protection also means understanding what drains you emotionally. This might be conversations filled with complaints, gossip, arguments, or negative assumptions. It might be habits like endless scrolling, comparing your life to others, or consuming content that weakens your self-belief. It might even be your own thoughts, those inner critics that whisper doubts, insecurities, and past mistakes. Protecting your energy begins with awareness. You must observe what lowers your vibration and what elevates it. You must consciously choose environments that help you grow instead of environments that keep you stuck. Minimal interaction does not mean isolation. It means learning to balance connection with boundaries. You can love people and still limit how much of your mind you give them. You can be kind without allowing others to manipulate your time or your emotional space. Setting boundaries is not building walls, it is building doors with locks. The right people will knock with respect. The wrong people will try to force their way in. Your responsibility is to know the difference. Protecting your energy also requires emotional maturity. You must learn to respond, not react. Many situations drain you not because they are difficult, but because you react impulsively. Someone's anger pulls you in, and suddenly you carry emotions that are not yours. Someone's criticism distracts you, and suddenly you doubt what you previously felt confident about. When you react instantly, you lose control of your energy. When you respond calmly, you keep it within your own hands. Emotional maturity is knowing that not every comment, argument, or provocation deserves your attention. Before 2026 begins, reflect on how many times you have been tired without doing anything physically exhausting. Often, this tiredness is not from the body, it is from the soul. It is the exhaustion that comes from carrying other people's emotions, pleasing everyone, worrying about opinions, and dealing with unnecessary noise. Protecting your energy means giving yourself permission to step back, to disconnect, to breathe, and to choose peace over involvement. You do not have to attend every conflict you are invited to. You do not have to explain yourself to those who choose not to understand. You do not have to prove your worth through exhaustion. Your energy is a treasure. It should be invested, not wasted. Give it to those who appreciate your presence, not those who drain your spirit. Give it to activities that build your skills, not to distractions that weaken your mind. Give it to dreams that make your heart stronger, not to fears that make your world smaller. When your energy is protected, your vision becomes sharper, your decisions become cleaner, and your life moves with more intention. Protecting your energy is the shield that allows everything else, discipline, clarity, growth, to survive and flourish. It is the foundation that keeps your inner world calm, even when the outer world moves chaotically. And the earlier you learn to protect it, the more powerful your next chapter will become. Mastering your attention is one of the deepest forms of self-control, and before entering a new year, it becomes an essential mindset. Attention is not just the ability to focus on something, it is the ability to decide what does not deserve your focus. Your attention is limited. It is a form of currency, and whatever you spend it on grows stronger in your life. Whether it is a goal or a distraction, most people do not realize how often they give their attention away unintentionally to noise, to drama, to meaningless conversations, to mental habits that steal their potential little by little. Mastering your attention is learning to reclaim that power. In today's world, attention is constantly under attack. Every notification, every comparison, every distraction is designed to pull you away from yourself. When your mind is scattered, your life becomes scattered. When your mind is noisy, your path becomes blurry. If you want 2026 to be different, you must train your attention as deliberately as someone trains their body. A strong mind is not built through occasional focus. It is built through daily discipline, choosing intentionally what deserves space inside your thoughts. Attention is the gatekeeper of your reality. Whatever you give attention to becomes your experience. If you focus on fears, you create anxiety. If you focus on mistakes, you create self-doubt. If you focus on growth, you create progress. This is why mastering attention is more powerful than motivation. Motivation comes and goes, but controlled attention keeps you aligned, even on difficult days. Most people say they lack time, but what they truly lack is directed attention. Time does not disappear, attention does. When you learn to direct your attention, you gain the ability to ignore distractions. Not all distractions look harmful. Some appear harmless, like scrolling, chatting, or checking updates. Others disguise themselves as responsibilities or opportunities. But anything that takes you away from your purpose without giving meaningful value is a distraction. The challenge is not recognizing distractions. The challenge is resisting the urge to engage with them. The mind naturally seeks what is easy and stimulating, not what is meaningful. Mastering attention means training the mind to choose what is meaningful, even when the easier option is tempting. Concentration is not something you wait for, it is something you cultivate. It begins with small practices, focusing fully on one task, resisting the urge to multitask, turning off unnecessary noise, creating an environment that supports your goals, and reducing the mental clutter that pulls your attention in 10 different directions. When you focus on one thing deeply, you enter what people call flow, a state where your mind becomes sharp, your distractions fade, and your productivity rises. Flow is not accidental. It is the result of disciplined attention. Another part of mastering attention is recognizing how much emotional attention you waste. You replay conversations in your mind, overthink what others think of you, worry about situations you cannot control, and imagine outcomes that may never happen. These emotional spirals drain more energy than any physical task. Before 2026 begins, train your mind to identify when it is being pulled into unnecessary thinking. Bring your attention back to the present moment again and again. The more you do this, the stronger your mental muscles become. Mastering attention also requires clarity. You must know what your priorities are, otherwise everything will feel urgent. When you are clear about your direction, your attention naturally shifts toward what supports that direction. You stop chasing everything. You stop saying yes to everyone. You stop jumping from one idea to another. Clarity creates focus, and focus creates power. When your attention is aligned with your purpose, even small actions produce big results. The mind is like a lens. When it is unfocused, everything looks messy. When it is focused, everything becomes precise. If you want transformation in 2026, you must stop allowing random influences to shape your thoughts. Guard your attention the same way you guard your money or your time. Be selective about what you consume, who you listen to, and what you allow your mind to dwell on. The world around you will always try to pull you in different directions, but a disciplined mind learns to stay centered. Attention is the root of progress. Every achievement begins with a single moment of focused effort. Every failure begins with a moment of distraction. When you master your attention, you master the direction of your life. You stop being controlled by the environment and start creating your own environment. You stop reacting and start acting. And once you experience the strength that comes from a focused mind, you begin to understand that attention is not just a tool, it is the foundation of every change you wish to create in the year ahead. Inner stillness is one of the rarest qualities in today's world, yet it is the very ground on which clarity, strength, and transformation are built. Before entering a new year, the ability to sit with yourself, to listen to your own thoughts, to observe your own emotions, to understand your own patterns becomes essential. Without stillness, you live your life in reaction to everything around you. With stillness, you begin living from a place of intention rather than impulse. Inner stillness is not the absence of movement. It is the mastery of your inner world while movement continues around you. Most people fear quiet moments because silence exposes what they have been avoiding. When daily noise stops, the mind becomes louder. Thoughts surface, regrets, fears, unanswered questions, unresolved emotions. Many escape into distractions because facing themselves feels uncomfortable. Yet this discomfort is the doorway to growth. You cannot heal what you refuse to acknowledge. You cannot change what you refuse to see. Inner stillness reveals the truth, and truth is the starting point of transformation. Stillness is the ability to remain centered even when life becomes chaotic. It does not mean you stop feeling or caring. It means you stop being controlled by every feeling and every thought. When you develop stillness, you no longer react instantly. You pause, observe, and respond with clarity. This pause is powerful. It breaks patterns. Many conflicts, mistakes, and emotional spirals begin because there was no pause between stimulus and reaction. Stillness inserts space, and within that space lies wisdom. Before 2026 begins, practicing inner stillness means learning to be comfortable with your own presence. Sit quietly, breathe, and simply notice what is happening within you. The mind will wander. That is its nature. Stillness is not about stopping thoughts. It is about observing them without being pulled into them. When you watch your thoughts without judgment, you begin to realize that not every thought is true, not every emotion is permanent, and not every impulse deserves action. This understanding alone can change the direction of your life. Inner stillness also strengthens emotional stability. People who lack stillness are easily shaken. They react to gossip, to negativity, to fear, to external influences. Their mood is controlled by events. Their confidence depends on approval. Their peace depends on circumstances. But a person grounded in stillness carries a calmness that cannot be taken away. They listen more than they speak. They understand more than they announce. They see situations without exaggeration or panic. Stillness sharpens the mind and softens the ego. Another aspect of stillness is awareness. When you slow down internally, you begin noticing things you previously ignored: your habits, your triggers, your cycles, the way certain people affect you, the way certain environments change your energy. You become conscious of why you do what you do. Awareness gives you the power to choose differently. A life without awareness is automatic. A life with awareness is intentional. Inner stillness is also a form of self-connection. In silence, you reconnect with your values, your intuition, and your deeper purpose. Many people feel lost, not because they lack direction, but because they have been drowning in noise for too long. When you allow yourself moments of quiet, your inner voice becomes clear again. This voice guides you toward what is right for you, not what is popular, not what others expect, not what fear suggests. The most important answers often appear in silence, not in noise. Stillness is not something you develop once. It is a practice. It requires patience. At first, your mind will resist. It will bring distractions, discomfort, restlessness. But with time, the mind learns to settle just as water becomes clear when it is no longer shaken. The more you practice stillness, the more your inner world becomes stable. And when the inner world stabilizes, external chaos loses power over you. Inner stillness also brings mental sharpness. When your mind is calm, you make better decisions. You see the consequences of your actions more clearly. You understand situations more deeply. You respond with intelligence instead of emotion. A still mind is not empty. It is precise. It cuts through confusion like a blade through fog. As you prepare for the new year, remember this: you cannot create a strong life with a restless mind. You cannot walk a clear path with a clouded inner world. Stillness is where strength is born. It is where clarity lives. It is where your true self speaks. And when you learn to sit with yourself without discomfort, you become someone who can walk into 2026 with calmness, direction, and inner confidence no external force can shake. Trusting the process is one of the most challenging yet transformative mindsets a person can develop, especially before stepping into a new year. In a world obsessed with instant results, quick success, immediate recognition, and fast answers, trusting the process feels slow, invisible, and sometimes even pointless. But real transformation does not follow the speed of society. It follows the rhythm of patience, persistence, and unseen progress. Before 2026 begins, understanding this truth can save you from unnecessary stress and guide you toward a more grounded, powerful way of living. People often assume growth must be loud to be real. They think progress should be dramatic, instantly visible, or celebrated by others. But true transformation is quiet. It happens when no one is watching. It happens in moments that look ordinary, but carry extraordinary seeds of change. Trusting the process means accepting that the most meaningful shifts are not always noticeable at first. A seed buried in the dark does not appear to be growing, yet it is undergoing its most important transformation beneath the surface. You, too, are often growing in ways you cannot yet see. Trusting the process is also about surrendering the illusion of control. Life cannot be perfectly predicted or micromanaged, no matter how much you try. Sometimes you will do everything right and still not get immediate results. Sometimes the timing will not match your expectations. Sometimes you will feel behind, even when you're exactly where you need to be. Trusting the process means understanding that delays are not always failures. They might be preparation. They might be protection. They might be redirecting you towards something better. Many people destroy their own progress by giving up too early. They plant a seed, water it for a few days, and then believe nothing is happening. They abandon their routine, their discipline, their dreams, not because they lack potential, but because they lacked patience. They had results written in their mind that did not match reality. And instead of adjusting their expectations, they abandoned their efforts. Trusting the process teaches you to continue even when the results are not visible. It teaches you to understand that effort compounds. Every day you practice, every day you show up, every day you stay consistent. You are building a future version of yourself that is stronger than the one before. There will be moments in 2026 where things feel slow, uncertain, or difficult. If your mindset is tied to immediate success, you will feel discouraged. But if your mindset is tied to the process, you will remain steady. Trusting the process gives you emotional stability. It allows you to stay calm in the middle of challenges, because you understand that growth often comes dressed as difficulty. You trust that the work you're doing now is shaping you for something you cannot yet see. Trusting the process also means letting go of comparison. When you compare your progress with others, you lose sight of your own path. Everyone has different timing, different lessons, different environments, and different journeys. Comparing your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 10 only leads to frustration. The moment you stop comparing is the moment you begin moving at your true pace. When you trust the process, you stop rushing. You stop competing. You stop forcing outcomes. You begin flowing with your own direction. Another important part of trusting the process is recognizing that failure is not the end. It is information. Every mistake you make teaches you something essential. Every setback strengthens your resilience. Every detour gives you insight you didn't have before. When you trust the process, you see failure differently, not as a wall blocking your path, but as a doorway to deeper understanding. You learn to embrace the uncomfortable moments because you know they are shaping you. There will be times when the process feels silent. You will feel like nothing is changing, even though everything is. These moments test your commitment. Anyone can follow the path when it is easy, but trusting the process means staying committed when progress is invisible, when doubts whisper, when patience is stretched. This is where most people quit, but it is also where transformation truly begins. When you trust the process, you build a calm strength inside yourself. You stop chasing quick results. You stop demanding perfection. You understand that slow progress is still progress. You understand that consistency matters more than speed. You understand that the journey shapes you just as much as the destination. And as you enter 2026, this mindset becomes your anchor, guiding you through uncertainty, giving you hope in difficult moments, and allowing you to grow into the person you are meant to become. As you stand on the edge of a new year, remember that nothing changes simply because the calendar does. What changes your life is the person you decide to become. Every mindset you carry into 2026 will either strengthen your path or weaken it. Letting go of the past frees your heart. Discipline sharpens your direction. Protecting your energy guards your peace. Mastering your attention focuses your power. Inner stillness deepens your understanding. And trusting the process grounds your journey. The world will not slow down for you. Challenges will not disappear. Uncertainty will not wait until you feel ready. But when your inner world becomes steady, the outer world loses its ability to shake you. Your strength will no longer come from luck, timing, or circumstance. It will come from the mindset you have built with intention. 2026 will not define you. You will define 2026. Walk into the new year with clarity, calmness, and commitment. Walk with the quiet confidence of someone who has prepared their mind. Walk with the understanding that transformation begins within you long before it appears around you. The new year is an empty space waiting to be shaped. Fill it with discipline. Fill it with focus. Fill it with growth. And most importantly, enter 2026 not hoping for change, but becoming the change.